Hi, everyone. My name is Jason. I am the owner and travel butler with Travel Simplicity. You may have seen some of the other videos that we've been doing recently of conversations I've been having with clients all over, or with my contacts all over the world. This contact is particularly special. She's a good friend of mine, and she lives right here in Pennsylvania, and she's a big part of the business. She's a big part of Travel Simplicity. In fact, um, let's just welcome her. Hello, Melissa.
Hi, how are you? I'm Melissa.
I'm very good. So Melissa owns a company locally, and the reason why she's a big part of what I do is every time one of my clients come home from a trip that or an experience that I've designed for them, they get a welcome home card. Well, that welcome home card is thanks to Melissa. So what is show us? So where did that where does your inspiration come from, Melissa? How did you get into this? How did you get into stationery?
Yeah, so I started my business in 2006, which wasn't really a business when I started, but I was making scrapbooky greeting cards, similar to this, how it's pieced
Oh, there
together
you go. So you have an example of something.
graphically. This is one of yours. So I like to have these that I can show off all of your trips and all the travels, but I was making greeting cards that were personalized, that I was retailing into boutiques in Philadelphia when I was in college. And I went to the stationery show in New York at the Javits Center, and I had a booth for 2 years that I was actually selling my cards all over the country. But I was also making one of a kind cards, and really with my business called Made to Keep, that's really where it came about, because each card was made to keep. It was, we didn't want to throw these away because they were so special. And throughout the years, even though I was retailing cards that were more generic and packs of cards, I was always still doing the one of a kind cards. And, specifically for businesses like yours, wanting to have people's names on it, show where, like we show where they went, the date. It's really a gift in itself. It's a really neat, little piece that we can do for weddings, birthdays, new babies, and people frame them. People really see this, and they, not only are they excited that that they got it, but it shows too that you put in so much effort in providing them a thank you gift. Like, you didn't just buy a pack of thank you cards. This took a lot of time on your part as their travel butler too.
Well,
So
it's neat. You're absolutely right. People keep them. I mean, I have certain clients that have, two or three cards, depending on how many times they've traveled. But one of my most frequent clients, who travels quite a few times, even during 1 year, in experiences I've designed, she keeps every one of her cards that you actually create for her.
that's
So
so cool.
I don't know how much space it takes up in her home now. She could probably fill a wall or half a wall, but she keeps every one of them and looks back at them.
Yeah, and it's like a memory. We do use pictures. Actually, it was funny. I was doing the last one of the ones that I did for you weeks ago. Knowing that I sometimes know the people, I go on and I actually take pictures that I have on their social media pages of them there. There's Because it makes it so much personalized to have, a picture that they actually took themselves to even put on there. So I like to kind of go on and creep and, onto their pictures and see if I can actually take a picture to put on there. So it's fun.
Well, it's neat that because of the personalization, literally every single card you've ever made for me is different.
Yep.
There's
And
not one that's been the same, because even when different people, maybe are on the same trip, they're going to get their names on it. And it just makes it
yep.
that special.
Yeah, and they do different things. I mean, I think we've done some of the same locations, just as far as, the travels, but the people didn't do the same thing. You picked unique things just for them, and their personality and the things that they love to do. But I always tell people that when I first started doing these cards years ago for you, and I still do it, like, trust me, but I would take so much time looking up the itinerary and where they went, and I would Google because I want to use the pictures. And I felt I was on this trip. I felt I was in the Poconos at the little cafe listening to this artist that they had gone to see this live music, and each card that I make is like this mini trip that I take on in a sense, like virtually almost. And it's just so neat because I have firsthand, not real firsthand, go
Not
experience
yet.
that I've
Not yet.
on the trip, but I have this insight in a sense of what you do and the back end of where they go and how meaningful a lot of these, the restaurants that they go to and the experiences that they have. I get to see each and every one of them, and it's so special to me too.
Well, what is one of your favorite things about what you do? And what's one of that's the first question. The second question is, what's one of your favorite things or some of your favorite things that you've ever created? It doesn't have to be for something you've created for me.
Yeah, so twofold. I actually have one of my most favorite things, and I'll tell you why. I pulled it here, but one of the things that I wanted to show, which it will answer that question, is I love when people let me be creative, and it's not just that I can, do what I do best and I can kind of run wild with my creativity, but it's that I get that my clients are open to showing their personality too. And that's what I was saying with like your trips and the things that you plan and customize for people. I do the same thing, and we get to show a piece of each and every person and couple and what they love to do in the stationery. So this one here originally was a rehearsal dinner invitation. And it even has like the little lines on the bottom, and it says, "We are almost married. Huddle up for a rehearsal dinner for Steph and Daniel as Firehouse Restaurant." But it says, "Don't fumble, RSVP by July 6th. And then it says upscale tailgate attire. So
I'm
I
guessing
love,
they like football.
oh yeah, they love they went to Penn State. So this was actually a few years ago, but it's just really neat. And this wasn't for their wedding invitation. It was for the rehearsal, but it was really fun. And it got to show something that they met there and they went to Penn State, and they, such a huge part of them. And then the couple that, that came to me for their wedding invitations, which, typically when you have wedding invitations, and I have some here that they're very beautiful and they're elegant. There's some people who that's just not their style. They want to have a little bit more fun, or it's casual. Maybe it's just more of a party, but we put that into the invitation. So what I love is showing these little details of their personality and their style. I get to include the little Nittany paw on the invitations, and instead of "we are, almost married," this one says "we are getting married." And it just has some really neat little, extra creativity. I'm very cheesy when it comes to wording and puns, so I get excited about all that, and I don't always get to do that on wedding invitations. I can do it more on birthday and bar and bat mitzvahs and anniversary parties and things that it's more social parties. So it's really fun when the brides and grooms let me do that. And this one says for the invitation, instead of a reception that would be to follow, it says followed by a tailgate to remember. And even on the outside of the envelopes, I like to add a little bit of that detail. So everything's coordinated, and there's just little things on the RSVP card. Yes, we are excited. Sorry to miss the fun. Don't fumble. And I think when I see that I can add those little bits of, my creativity and fun, and when the customers really and my clients really, want to add that extra touch to it, is when I get really excited. But yeah, and then my ultimate favorite piece here. So you're seeing the back of this, and the back is because it's in 2 different languages.
Is that Hebrew?
This invitation, this is, gosh, I'm blanking on what it is. So this is actually a friend of mine from high school, and they're from, he's from Eritrea. So they're Greek Orthodox, and I'll think of it while we're talking here. But so this invitation is on crane paper, which we know is just ultimately the best paper. And, you know, in my business, I've done invitations that are, you know, we have no budget and we want here, we have, you know, this budget, we have, you know, we really don't care about the invitations or the stationery. We just need something. And everywhere in between. So this invitation is just something I probably will never do anything close to this. And it's rose gold, which I love, foil. And it's not just laying on top of the invitation like we've seen in digital foils. This is actually letter pressed in. So we have a plate that actually put their names in and their invitation letter pressed in blue, another plate letter pressed in rose gold foil, and the whole back, and then it was duplexed on crane paper pushed together. And we have round corners, and then we have edge painting. So you might not be able to see it, but the edges are rose gold painted around the sides. And I had done their save the date, and it had this mirrored rose gold, but this is letterpress too. So they're both just stunning and like beautiful. I mean,
but not only do you get to look at it, but you could actually touch it. And
oh my
feel
gosh, just the feel of it and the
Yeah.
look of it. But I was at the stationery show in New York, and I had walked by, I think this was about 3 years ago, and I had walked by a booth. Now I was walking it because I had my own retail shop that I would, you know, be buying cards for. And so fast forward here, had a booth there myself, but now I'm walking it, shopping from people like this. And I'm walking by, and I literally looked and said, what the? And here was my invitation. This invitation was on you know, the wall. And it happened to be that it wasn't my printer who had done all this beautiful printing. It was the person that actually did just the edge painting, because they had to outsource it to somebody else. So of course, here I'm taking a picture of this, like, oh my God, like feeling like this is the moment, I've made it. My invitation is at the stationery show. And I'm like, ah. And they go, miss, you can't take pictures of these. You know, these are copyrighted. I said, excuse me, sir. This is my invitation. You know, I said, I designed this. And I said, and who are you? Because I didn't give you credit to be putting you know, like I said, this is mine. And they, you know, not that they were taking credit for the printer and for me, but it was that moment that I said, oh, my invitation on display, you know, with these invitations that were there like this, like I said, I mean, these are huge companies, you know, huge international, national companies. And to see that there, that was amazing. It was cool.
Well, you do an incredible job, and it's a pleasure to have you here to talk with you and to be able to share a little bit of what you do, and for not only myself and for Travel Simplicity and for my clients, but what you can do and you do for others as well. So thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate it, Melissa.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.